What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy Snowy Kurama. Welcome to LBL Season 5, Week 2 Games of the Week. If you missed the last episode, I have a link to the playlist in the description to show you all of the LBL Games of the Week content. But just in case you want a refresher, I am showcasing one game that I figure to be the best one from each of 3 divisions in the LYCANROC Battle League. And this is the chosen battles for week 2. If you're hyped and excited, please hit that like button and that subscribe button if you have not already. It helps. It helps. Alright, let's get into it. Up on the screen you will see random.org, which I have a dice rolling simulator, so roll 1 and 4 will be starting with midnight, roll 2 and 5 will be midday, and then last but not least, we have roll 3 and 6 to be dusk. That's how we'll figure out who we are going to start for the rest of the time we're doing this. Roll 5, that is midday. This week we have Kayla versus Stish. Stish was our Season 3 champion in Dusk, moving on up to midday, and Kayla is someone new who comes into the league. She has at least won one draft league game. Well, yes, but I meant to say she's at least won one draft league championship as well. So this is a battle between 2 champions. My bad. Anyway, I want to look at it from Stitch's side, and we can just go ahead and start off here. We'll keep it in normal. We see a Sudowoodo come out and a Shaman come out. We already see an Earth Power coming off from the Shaman, but it looks like Stish might be trying to set up some rocks. And then we have a Shaman who's going to try to stop that, so let's see how that goes. Earth Power does quite a bit to the Sudowoodo, as we can see. And a Spadef drop, not like it matters, so this thing's dead anyway. But he got up the rocks, and it looks like Kamala is the only one that's going to be able to clear those at this time. Zapdos comes on out, probably to try to Hurricane, or maybe even Heat Wave, maybe Volt Switch just to see what's going to happen next. Hurricanes hits the Hurricane, does not get the confusion, but we see that, honestly, it doesn't look like Kamala took too much from that Heat Wave. Stish might be some sort of defensive Zapdos set that we would usually see. Volt Switch does some damage. Gouging Fire comes on out. Hits the Yawn on Kayla's side, which is pretty good into this Gouging Fire, because it's not going to be able to move unless he packs the Lum or the Chesto. Doesn't look like he does from that switch out into Palafin, which is kind of good on his part, because now he can just press Flip Turn and get his form. Pretty good. Wish is up, probably will protect, so Stish should probably just switch. Does not. The Wish Protect does come off. Switches right out into Zapdos, and she goes out to her Lantern. We see a Volt Switch, and then it is revealed that the Lantern is likely Water Absorb, which is good for the Palafin here. Great Tusk comes on out. Volt switches into the Great Tusk, which does absolutely nothing. Ice Spinners right into the Terra Flying Lantern, calling the Terra Flying. That is very good on Stitch's end, making this thing whittled all the way down to 25 HP. So Kayla either has to sack this thing or go out into something that takes an ice move. And looking at her team, nobody really wants to take an ice move. Scald gets the Great Tusk all the way down to 40. We do not see a burn. Very lucky on Stitch's part. We see that Lantern go down. Then we see a Dragapult come on in. And we see an Ice Spinner to kill it with a critical hit. It is a Choice Scarfed Great Tusk. Kinda heat, in my opinion, because you don't really see Scarf Great Tusk. You would see Booster Energy Speed, or maybe even a defensive Rapid Spin set, honestly. We see Hatterene coming on in. Switches out into Komala. Do we see a Great Tusk Ice Spinner? We do see a Great Tusk Ice Spinner taking that thing down to 48%. That might be a high. If it's a high roll that Stish got in that 46, and this thing will still take another one. But if not, then obviously not. Protects up here. We see another Ice Spinner because there's no reason for Stitch to not go for it. We see Ice Spinner again. I think he's just trying to do as much damage as he possibly can into Kayla's team. Goes out into the Gouging Fire on the Protect. Very good read from Stitch as he saw that from last time. Heat Crash does a lot because Gouging Fire is a big boy. We see this Grimmsnarl coming on out. Burning Bulwark to potentially get a burned Grimmsnarl, but that didn't happen because we see a Thunder Wave. Boys, very interesting. Does Burning Bulwark have heightened priority? It might. I feel like it wouldn't go before Prankster. What other abilities do you get? Frisk and Pickpocket, so I don't think she's not Frisk. Maybe Burning Bulwark just has the heightened priority. Anyway, we see a bulk up off of Kayla's Grimmsnarl set, which is pretty cool. This seems to be a bulky offensive Thunder Wave, probably Spirit Break, and then maybe Sucker Punch Grimmsnarl here. Hurricane misses, and we see a Spirit Break coming off, doing almost half to Zapdos, lowering its special attack, which is very good for this Grimmsnarl. But the paralysis isn't, because Zapdos is annoying. We see the Heatran coming out. Sucker Punch happens, but we see a Metal Sound, which procs the Throat Spray that this Heatran was holding, and lowers the special defense of this thing. I don't think I've seen Metal Sound Throat Spray in a while. Probably not since mid-Gen 8. It's insane. We see a Thunder Wave, which does get the Heatran, but a Magma Storm ends up taking out the Grimmsnarl, which is pretty good considering that Shaman could have come in on that. We see a Terrastalize into Ghost type, which makes the Earth Power not super effective against the Spadef Heatran, it seems. And we see a Magma Storm hit on the Shaman, and then we see Hatterene coming on in. Paralyzed, but it's okay. Calm Minding up, and then Terra Blast, so that we don't have Magma Storm trying to hit. And that is the game. Good game to both Kayla and Stitch. That was some heat on Stitch's side. I swear, the Scarf Tusk, Throat Spray Heatran, that was some craziness. And I really enjoyed seeing the Prankster bulk up Thunder Wave on the Grimmsnarl on Kayla's side. Very nice, very nice. Great game to the Midday folks. Okay, now let's see what we're going to go for next. 1 through 3 will be Midnight, and then 4 through 5 will be Dusk. We see a 6. We are going to look at the Dusk game next. This time it is Blaze Gaming 428 versus Mr. Ric Flair. Blaze was in Dusk last season, and I think the last game he played in this, this season was a win on his side, so maybe we'll see another one, maybe we won't. We see Mr. Ric Flair with a, looks like Sticky Web. I was trying to think of the name. I was like, what is it? All I can think of is Bug and Bee. But Sticky Web with Zama C on the side, and we see Darkrai, some craziness. A Porygon Z, Moltres. How is Blaze going to get out of this one? Swampert's really good. We see Tyranitar with Garchomp. Maybe we see some Sandvale shenanigans with an Iron Valiant and Volcarona. Two very, very powerful threats. Let's go ahead and get this rolling. We see Skarmory leading off, and a Ribombee likely setting up the webs here, and you're likely setting up a Stealth Rock because you don't get Defog anymore. Sticky Web, yep, Stealth. Oh, it's like I watch these games beforehand. We see a Stun Spore off of the Ribombee, paralyzing the Skarmory. Then we see Heavy Duty Boots, Volcarona here, lowering the special attack, which is not great. And then we see another paralysis, Lucky Ribombee, wearing his glasses. He brought his glasses to the match because he's not missing any of these paralyses. We see a Sub, a Quiver Dance to get some of the boosts up here. We see a Fiery Dance, hopefully getting the this special attack raise, which we do indeed get. So we have a paralyzed +1 quiver on the Volcarona, and the Ribombee pretty much did its job, paralyzing 1/3 of Blaze's team. Porygon Z comes out. Terra Blast! Let me tell you something about this Porygon Z here. You might be wondering, how could Porygon Z kill this Volcarona with a +1 special defense with Terra Blast? This thing has adaptability. That boosts stab by, I think, ×2 or something like that. And Porygon Z's special attack isn't anything to scoff at. I don't know the exact number. Let me do a quick lookup. We see 135 special attack. That is a lot. So anyway, let's see how the rest of this goes. We see Volcarona going down. Iron Valiant comes on out, gets hit by the Sticky Web, and looks like Quark Drive into attack. So we don't see a Quark Drive speed, which is very unfortunate into the Sticky Web team. Terra Blast, dead. Tyranitar comes on out. We see that the Porygon Z is indeed a Terra Captain and uses Terra Blast fighting. Still affected by adaptability, I believe. Although I think Terra and adaptability don't work like regular stab and adaptability. I think you get less off of the adaptability. I'll put up on screen what the actual calculation is, because I don't know off the top of my head. I don't feel like I can get up right now. Doing some work for editing Kurama out there in the back. Anyway, Porygon Z, Terra fighting, takes down the Tyranitar. We see Garchomp coming on in. Terra Blast, killing the Garchomp. Swampert coming on out. Do we see another one? Terra Blast doing it not too much, doing only 30% this time. We see a Liquidation taking the Porygon Z almost down to the last remaining HP. Terra Blast whittles down the Swampert a little bit even more. We see a Liquidation. So this little guy, this little trucker that could, took out 1, 2, 3, 4 Mons on Blaze's side. And Mr. Ric Flair still has a whole Zamasu and a whole Darkrai to fight against the Blaze Gaming's somewhat passive pair. We see a knockoff killing the Swampert. And then Skarmory comes on in. We see another knockoff. Iron Defense, we're going to try to body press up here. We'll see. Close Combat does absolutely nothing. I honestly wasn't expecting that. We see a Bulk Up off on Mr. Ric Flair's side. We see a Body Press just annihilating the Garchomp. We are fighting for our life here. Will-O-Wisp. Dusk moment. Will-O-Wisping the paralyzed Skarmory, allowing it to get back up to full. Flamethrower goes ahead and almost kills the Skarmory. But there isn't really a chance for Blaze. That is good game. So the big reason I wanted to showcase this game, let's see if it lets me go back. Is just boom. And boom. Seeing that off of a Porygon Z, something that you might look at and think, it's just a you know, a past gen Mon. It's not Gen 9, so it's very old, and I'm looking for a word. Power crept out of oblivion. Then this happens. So good game to Blaze and to Mr. Ric Flair. Last but not least, we have the Midnight match. Leganon, the owner of the LYCANROC Battle League, versus Solo Destroyer. We see an Ursaluna, Big Bad Ursaluna, Quaquaval, which I would consider to be the glue to any Draft League team. We have a Terra Steel Hydreigon, Fetcharunt, which is pretty good, and then these two. Then we see the Iron Crown, the Great Tusk. We see some hazard setting action, and probably a Terra Raging Bolt. So we'll see how Leganon fares against the Menace. Up first we have Samurai Hisui coming out, likely to set up the hazards. We see Clef Key on Lego's side. That thing could either set up its own hazards or maybe even set the paralysis on the Samurai. We'll have to see. We see a Great Tusk coming in. Dazzling Gleam, which was a pretty good cover on Lego's part to hit the Samurai. Also hits the Raging Bolt. Hits a lot of guys on Solo's team outside of their Iron Crown. It's the only resist. Yuxi coming on out, probably to set up some rocks. We see a knockoff for the Colbur Berry. Pretty good. Iron Crown comes on out. We see the rocks coming up. Quackaball comes on in, probably to take the Tachyon Cutter because it resists. Clef Key comes on out to take a Psychic. Boy is reading minds. We see another hazard set up with spikes. Pretty good for Lego. Great Tusk comes on in, probably to try to rapid spin this stuff out, but he's going to lose the Great Tusk in the process because he's a Rocky Helmet. And now Lego is free to just try to set up his hazards once again. We see a Thunder Wave off the Clef Key on Iron Crown. Gets the paralysis, lucky guy. Tachyon Cutter. And notably, Tachyon Cutter is special, so we're not going to get hit with that, the Rocky Helmet. Clef Key just sets up the last layer of the spikes because there's absolutely nothing on Solo's side that can clear the spikes, so these things are here to stay. Volt switches right on out. We see Samurai coming back in. Hydreigon coming on in too. We see the Terra to the Steel, and then a Draco Meteor. Turns out that's the Zoroark, and it's down. Weavile comes on out, likely, I don't know, threatening a low kick, maybe threatening the knockoff. Can't really ice triple axle this thing anymore. We see a switch out to Yuxi. We see a Swords Dance come off from this Weavile. That is a menace. Knockoff kills the Yuxi. No rocks for Lego. Hydreigon comes back in. Iron Crown comes in to take probably a Draco. Takes a Flash Cannon instead. We see Petrant coming on in. This thing is annoying as hell. Samurott coming in. Misses the Ceaseless Edge. That really sucks. I mean, he's got a rapid spinning Quaquaval to take care of any hazards, but still not getting the damage off on this Petrant, even though it'd probably be like 5% or something because of the base 160 defense. It's not great. Parting Shot on out to get in the Quaquaval to clear up any hazards, maybe even close combat. We see a Swords Dance coming up of the Quaquaval. We see an Aqua Stack killing the Iron Crown, giving this thing pretty much a Dragon Dance with an added attack bonus. Raging Bolt comes on out, probably just play some Thunderclap games. Ursaluna comes on in on the Thunderclap. Burned Ursaluna. We're about to see some heavy hitting Facades, ladies and gentlemen. Facade coming on in, bopping the Samurai. And then Weavile comes on in. We'll likely see a triple axle. Quaquaval comes on in. Knockoff is just fine. We might see another sort of... Yes, triple axle is there. I knew he had to go for something that was going to kill this thing. So now we are 3-2. Game is looking pretty good for Lego. Hydreigon comes on in, takes an Ice Shard, and U-turns out on the Weavile instead. Maybe he was expecting the bear to come in. I am not sure. Does Hydreigon have any items still? He does, so you could have knocked that off. Unsure. So Ursaluna comes on in, and now we see the Raging Bolt trying to take out the rest of the team. Terra Dark, Dragon Pulses does not, maybe even half, maybe half to the Ursaluna, but it doesn't even matter because we see a Facade coming off of the Broken Burnt Bear, and that is one win for Legonen. I think I've showcased all of the mods aside from myself on this series. I'm going to try to not show any of my games because I'm trying to show everyone else off. But that is your Week 2 Games of the Week. Let's move on to some stats. Starting off at midnight, we have Saiai's Iron Valiant once again taking all of the kills off of his opponent. Venus Canix's Driftblim reaching up into the top, followed by Elias of Jay's Salamence with the 5 kills. We see Ogerpon going up above KJ's Dragapult with 4 kills. And then reaching into the top 5, we have Inversified Sylveon grabbing 4 kills. In Midday, we have Sound of Snow's Glastrier reaching all the way up to the top with 5 kills. Primarina from Holy Macaroni with 4. Sound of Snow once again having a kill leader in Serena with 4 kills. Stitch's Great Tusk that we just saw taking 4. And his Heatran coming in later as well, taking 4. Last but not least, in Dusk, we have Egotistical Elekid's Terapagos taking 6 kills, and looks like its first match. Rafmon's Heatran following behind in second with 5 kills. Glastrier from Jeremy taking 5 as well. Spectrier from Deadpool with 5 kills, and Boaz's Tinglu, somehow the Tinglu is taking some kills, but it's got 4 under its belt. In the standings, we see Saigai still up at the top. Venus Canix rising up from, let's see, he was 6th place, but this match got him into 2nd, followed by Iger, who was saying that he was going to get farmed at midnight. Sure, buddy. Sure, buddy. Yeah, sure seems that way. You're 3rd with your 2-0 plus 5. Yep, you're sure getting farmed. Okay. In Midday, we have Holy Macaroni staying up top with 2-0 plus 8. Sound of Snow getting a resounding 6-0 against his really awful, bad opponent that shouldn't be playing Draft League anymore because that's how bad he is, with a 2-0 plus 7. And then last but not least, we have Driver's Fear Rippers with 2-0 plus 4. And then in Dusk, we see Boaz keeping his lead at 2-0 plus 9. Egotistical Elekid jumping up above Mr. Ric Flair. They just kind of did a hopscotch. He's got 2-0 plus 9, and then there's 2-0 plus 6. So everybody at the top is really, really close together, it seems. So, good for you guys. And now for the pick'ems, we see Midnight with 67% of the community voting for the correct winners, which is an increase from last week's 50%. We see Midday with an increase as well to a 42% against their 34% last time. And then Dusk, we actually see a decrease from their 83% down to their 67%. So it seems like we are a little bit more confident on who's going to win the Midnight and the Midday games, even though Midday's not even 50%, but a little bit is gonna go a long way. But Dusk, we're just a little bit less sure, it looks like, this week. And that concludes Snowy Kurama's LBL games of the week for Season 5, Week 2. Like this video if you have not already. Subscribe if you want some more of this series. Hit that bell so you know what it is I'm uploading. And with all that being said and more, this has been your boy, Snowy Kurama. See you in the next video. Goodbye.